new government, the first 100 days are closely watched. They often set the tone for the next 5 years. For the VD Satheesan government in Kerala, the first 2.5 months have been anything but smooth. The opposition has clearly been vocal. But the bigger story is unfolding within the Congress itself. One controversy after another has exposed an uncomfortable reality. There appears to be a growing disconnect between the government and the party organization. Let's look at the pattern. The government first landed in controversy over the appointment of a Special Government Pleader in the Devaswom Department. He had to step down after allegations of his Sangh Parivar connection surfaced from various corners, not only from the opposition but from the ruling front as well. Then came the decision to implement the PM SHRI scheme, a politically sensitive move considering the Congress's earlier criticism of the scheme while in the opposition. While the government defended the decision as necessary to secure union government's assistance for schools, and it was already signed by the previous LDF government, but sections within the party and the UDF remained uneasy. Questions also arose over the appointment of the State Election Commissioner, this time also for his alleged RSS connection. The decision to reduce tax on low alcohol beverages triggered another debate, with critics questioning whether the government was diluting Kerala's liquor policy. The handling of Adani Port's decision to transfer its stake in Vizhinjam Port to Mediterranean Shipping Company also generated political heat. Health Minister K. Muralidharan added another controversy with what many described as a knee-jerk reaction. He announced that the DYFI should not continue distributing free noon meals in government hospitals. The decision immediately attracted criticism, with many arguing that the patients should not become victims of political rivalry. Within days, the minister had to soften his stand and effectively backtrack. And now comes the latest episode, this time involving the Tata Group. Chief Minister VD Satheesan announced that Kerala was set to witness a shipbuilding project worth around Rs 10,000 crore, presenting it as a major investment involving the Tata Group. The announcement was intended to highlight the state's ability to attract large-scale industrial investment. Instead, it triggered a huge controversy. The Tata Group clarified that it had made no such investment announcement, prompting questions about whether any formal commitment had actually been secured. It also emerged that the proposed project was not an entirely new initiative. The proposal, which is not about ships but large boats, had been under discussion since the previous LDF government's tenure, with a subsidiary company of Tata figuring as one of the participants in the project. As the controversy intensified, the Chief Minister's office issued a clarification. It said the CM had not meant that the entire 10,000 crore investment would come from the Tata Group. Rather, he was referring to a broader marine project in which a Tata subsidiary was one of several stakeholders. But politically, the damage had already been done. What was meant to project the government's investment credentials instead opened it to criticism over political messaging, communication, and the tendency to oversell projects that are still at the proposal stage. Perhaps the most revealing controversy has been the rebellion by the Congress's own student wing, the KSU. The KSU openly accused the government of ignoring dedicated Congress workers while making appointments to government bodies and public institutions, especially in the appointment of government pleaders and prosecutors. The student organization alleged that people with little connection to the party and even individuals seen as political opponents were being accommodated while loyal party workers were sidelined. Chief Minister VD Satheesan dismissed this criticism rather bluntly. He argued that a student organization had no locus standi in matters relating to government appointments and suggested that such decisions were the prerogative of the government. Ordinarily, that might have ended the debate. Instead, it escalated. Senior Congress leaders, including AICC General Secretary K.C. Venugopal and veteran leader V.M. Sudheeran, publicly came out in support of the concerns raised by the KSU. That transformed what began as a protest by the student wing into a serious political message from influential sections of the Congress leadership. The issue was no longer about appointments. It became about consultation, it became about coordination, and it became about whether the government was listening to its own party. This is perhaps the defining feature of Satheesan government's first 2.5 months. Most governments face criticism from the opposition. The Satheesan government is increasingly facing criticism from within. There is now a growing perception inside the Congress that important decisions are being taken without adequate consultation with the party organization. Some ministers announce policies only to find themselves defending them before their own colleagues. That weakens the government's political messaging. It also hands the opposition ready-made ammunition. Political parties function best when the government and the organization move together. The government governs, the party explains, defends, and mobilizes support. When that coordination breaks down, every administrative decision risks becoming a political controversy. Congress in Kerala has always been known for its internal factions. That's not new. What is unusual is how early these differences have surfaced after assuming the office. Governments generally enjoy a grace period during their initial months. That grace period appears to be disappearing quickly. For Chief Minister VD Satheesan, the challenge now extends beyond administration. He has to reassure his own party that it has a stake in governance. Because ultimately, governments rarely stumble because of the opposition alone. They stumble when internal disagreements become public and begin to define the government's image. 2.5 months into office, that may well be the biggest challenge before the Satheesan government.